All right, we are live now. Okay, so here's what we did. We imported our data into week 13. These are the actual scores the offense scored and what their defense allowed. We have now imported this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to modulate this so that we can better reflect the actual situation. So if you go over here, so this is, if you look on this side, you can see that this is kind of mirrored over here, right? You can see kind of the same values. You got 17, 18. But if you look here, this is 12, 13. Kind of the same ratios that you're seeing over there, but different numbers. And that's because I'm weighting them. That what I am doing, if you look here, I take whatever the defense gave, this C3. So here's our formula. Anytime you want to write a formula, you put equals, and I've chosen C3 times this value up here, 0.75. And that's what gives me that. And you can keep going down, C4, C5, C6, but it's multiplied by the same number. This is the equation we're using to basically weight these averages. And you can see this increases, right? The larger this number gets, the bigger this value gets. Therefore, it contributes more to the averages we're eventually going to take. Okay, so now we got to put in week 13. So just for convenience, what I usually do is hide some data. And you can tell if there's a column that's hidden or columns that are hidden by these. See how these are all gray, AC, AD, AE? Now if we look here at AF and then AM, obviously there's columns that are hidden. And they show up as blue. That's how you tell when something's hidden in an Excel spreadsheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to select these two columns. Everybody with me? Okay. Right click, and we're going to say unhide. Everybody able to do that? All right. This is saying reference because it's waiting for me to put values in there. Now here is the cool thing. Now what we can do is we can take this information. So again, this is the same thing that we did to, when we were dragging functions. So I'm selecting this column. This is week 12. And remember, this has all the information. This is telling the system to go find the end column, where we just put week 13. Or no, this is the one, week 12. And it's basically saying take that number, divide, and multiply it by our normalization factor. So now that we've selected, remember, look for that solid crosshair in there. We're just going to drag this over to the next column. Everybody do that? All right. And if we look up here, what we will find is it's taking the value at 03. Let's look over here, make sure it's the same one. 03. And it's multiplying it by this value up here. Everybody see that? And we can just go down. Now, where did it not work? Look down here. If we look at this team last week, I think this is Carolina. Carolina did not play. They had a bye, right? But they're going to play this week, so we want to include that information. So here's what I'm going to do. I need to drag this function down to these two values here. Okay, so I'm going to select this cell right above this bye in week 13. Oh, wait, let's take our week 13. Remember, select week 12. Drag it over. And it's amazingly week 13 now. Okay. Okay, Let's click on the box right above this by, because this is the formula that we want to steal and transfer to these two down below. Okay? So click in the corner of that and just drag it down. Yeah, it messed up, didn't it? Yeah. That's one of the things with Excel is when you drag things, what it likes to do is take the next, it tries to think ahead of what you're trying to do. So what it actually does is, like with week 12, when we drag that over, it goes, well, he probably wants week 13. He doesn't want week 12 again. So it gives you one extra one. And that's kind of same thing that these functions do, is that when we drag it down, it takes the next value. If we look here, we're supposed to be multiplying by AG2, which is this value here. It took the one right below that. That's why that value is so huge. So let's correct that. So come up here on this AG3, go at the very end, hit delete, and hit 2. Okay? Now hit return. You can always go back. Remember, you can always do the undo if you mess something up. That has saved my butt many, many times. So do not be afraid of the undo. I think I've hit it, record like 10 times before, going, oh my gosh, I got to get to this. Okay, now we're in the second one, right? Again, 012, that's a correct column, but it's multiplying by the wrong number. So I'm going to change that. Delete, AG, we want AG2. And then return. Everybody get that far? Okay, let's go back down to the other by, which is, was it Pittsburgh? Yep. I guess Pittsburgh didn't play. Did they? No, they didn't play. Okay. Again, this is the formula that we want, but it's going to get modulated a way we don't like it, but that's all right. So we're going to go down here, drag this down, just the same thing we did before. We want AG2 multiplied, hit return, and then down here, AG2. And we have that column now. And you can check. You can go back and check. Was this correct? You can look and say, hey, here's 04, and you can look over here and say, all right, week 13, that's what I want. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sure enough, that works. And you want everything multiplied by this value here. So you look here, AG2. This will be AF2. This column will all be AE2, and so on and so forth. Okay. Just to get these other columns, so what I want to do is I want to get these columns out of here because I don't want to look at them anymore. So I'm going to hide these columns. So I'm going to select those that I don't want to see. Everybody select those columns? Okay, right click and say hide. Okay, everybody with me? All right. Now what we want to do, I'm taking the average of these. Okay? But we've just added a column, so we have to tell the software, hey, we've got an extra column here. So right now it's taking the average. If I click on this, it'll show you exactly what it's taking the average of. So just put your cursor like in there somewhere. This is what it's taking the average of. The things that are highlighted. Does it highlight on yours too? No? Okay. Yeah, I know my Mac's fancy, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we want, which cell do we need to add? Yeah, that's right. So let's add AG. So instead of AF, let's go to AG. You can capitalize it, you don't have to, not a big deal. Okay, when you put that in, what happens? It extends one, doesn't it? So now the equation is relevant, that we've included the new data.